Hello, my name is Randy McAtee, and tonight I am making my first YouTube video of 2023, and it is going to be entirely extemporaneous. I have nothing specific planned, just the thoughts in my head and the prescription from my primary care physician, excuse me, which he made about, I don't know, 3 years ago. He said I needed to start a vlog. And he said that with respect to the fact that I have ADD or ADHD, whatever you want to call it. Probably had it all my life, maybe getting worse as I'm getting older. So 2022 was a landmark year for me, speaking of getting older. In 2022 I turned 70 and also my wife and I became great-grandparents. So kind of a big deal for us. I've done several of these, what I'm doing right now, and they've just never been posted. I do them, I either don't get around to editing them, or I am too excuse me, I'm too self-critical of what I see. You know, looking at myself, seeing yourself on camera. If you think it's easy, give it a try. But just for one reason or another, they just don't get uploaded. This one, hopefully, will be uploaded. The worst part of not having them uploaded is that I forget what I did or didn't do. So I don't know whether I'm repeating myself unless I go back and look at the ones that I've actually published, or else go back and look at the ones that I've not published. Either one, it's work. And so I'm going to try not to repeat myself. But repetition is a problem. Excuse me. Repetition is a problem when you get older. I remember when I was a young man, I was about 18 years old, 19 years old, and I was living with a missionary who was in his mid-60s. And maybe he was maybe he was 62 or 63. But he used to repeat himself or tell me the same story over and over, and I was rather critical of him. I would say, "Hey, Robert, you already told me that story," and he would get angry because he didn't like the fact that, you know, I guess was correcting him or didn't want to listen to him again. I think it's part of aging. I think as we age, we have great long-term memories, and as a result, we have the same stories in our pretty much firmly embedded in our minds. So, among other things, is I'd like to talk about in future videos would be aging, a decline of cognitive abilities, and just subjects that relate to, you know, senior life, because my wife is always reminding me that now I am older. So while I am older, I don't necessarily feel older. So that said, one of the things I did plan to do tonight was, like, I don't want to call it a review, but I want to call it a revisiting. I saw this bottle of Southern Comfort and decided to grab it, and this was some time back, but with this in mind. Now, in my youth, there were times when I drank excessively. Well, I think there were times since I've been older, but I've only, in my opinion, got drunk one time in my life. Now there were some times that I guess if there's degrees, like Dante's Inferno, you know, maybe there was some first, second, or third level, you know, drunkenness. But for me, I was only down at the 9th level, really shit-faced drunk one time in my life. And I remember it specifically pretty well, and I would never want to repeat it. But it does so happen that that particular night, this was one of the drinks that I had. I would admit that I was mixing drinks and maybe some other substances. And I ended up, it's actually at my girlfriend's house at the time, and she had an older brother who was my age, and we were classmates, and he was having a party in his room, which was detached from the house, and I went in there and basically made a fool of myself by getting as drunk as I did. He was gracious enough that he let me spend the night, and he had a Volkswagen bus parked outside, and I don't know whether he let me or not. I just know that I couldn't drive or anything, so I crawled into his bus and slept in it, and had to get up repeatedly through the night and vomit. So not a pleasant experience, and I don't condone drunkenness, debauchery in any way, but I thought I'd see what I thought of Southern Comfort. Now, mind you, I was 18 at the time, so that means this drunkenness that I just recited to you happened 52 years ago. So it's been a long time. And so I'm going to give this a try. Now, Southern Comfort is it's called a spirit whiskey with natural flavors. So it's I think 35% alcohol by volume, if I remember right. And so this is kind of one of those, you know, flavored, maybe compared to, although I haven't tasted it in 52 years, but I suppose it would be compared to something like Captain Morgan's Spice Rum, which is 35% alcohol by volume. And, you know, I know it says it on here somewhere, but I just don't see it, and I'd have to put on my glasses to hunt it down. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it says 35% alcohol by volume. So, okay. 52 years later, visiting, I don't want to say an old friend, visiting the spirit that actually that I would credit for never wanting to get drunk again in my life, because it was a miserable experience, and how people can, you know, get that drunk and then go out and repeat it is just beyond me. Wait, here it goes. Oh boy. I don't know. I'm not too crazy about it, to be honest. And I couldn't remember what it did taste like from the last time I drank it, so. Sweet. Not my cup of tea, to be honest. I could maybe put it in some 7-Up or something. I don't know. If it was a review, I'd just say no thanks. Yeah. So anyway, I did it. It's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while, with the whole idea of trying it out, and how better to try it out than you know, in a YouTube video. And I've said this before. You know, I have a friend. He's an Orthodox priest, and says, if you drink alone, you're an alcoholic. So if I'm drinking with an audience, I suppose I'm not an alcoholic. So, cheers. Enough of that. Okay. Moving on. 2023. What's going to happen in 2023 for the betterment of our planet? I have no idea. Things look very tenuous, but I'm an optimist. One of the things that a little bit concerns me is AI, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of talk about it, and I think it's going to be good overall. I think it'll be good. Or let's put it this way. I think it has the potential to be good, like anything else, but also has the potential to go not so good. I know very little about these things. I'm not that computer savvy, but I have taken a look at the new application that they have called, what's it called? Chat? IPT? I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember. Hold on just a second. It's called, oh boy. Just give me a second here. ChatGPT. So, I'd say ChatGPT is now kind of like what Google was when Google first came out. Excuse me. So, when the internet first started, I knew that the internet was going to be big. I just knew it. I had friends that, you know, people that had no clue about it, but I was all over it. I was a lot younger, and I just knew that it was going to be big. And this, I kind of understood with Google, but not enough that I bought the stock. But I knew that Google was like a major next level thing, and still is, and will be for a long time to come, I believe. But this ChatGPT is an AI program, and you can go, you know, if you put it into Google ChatGPT, it'll take you to the website, and you can tinker around with it and see for yourself. Now, younger people are going to be on this and in this and are in it a lot sooner than anybody, than senior citizens. In a way, I've noticed how senior citizens kind of lag way behind the curve when it comes to a lot of this technology. It's like my mother-in-law, you know, she's, I think she's 94 now. Don't quote me on it. 93, 94, maybe 95. And, you know, I used to tell her, oh, gee, she got to, you know, get a smartphone. And she had no desire to get a smartphone. until she got a smartphone, and whatever tipped her, I don't know, but she got a smartphone, and now you can't get her off it. I had a neighbor like that too. He just passed away. He was in his 90s, or just turned 90. But I spoke to him maybe 20 years ago and told him, maybe 25 years ago, told him about the internet, told him about how he needed a computer. He didn't have a computer, and he was a retired attorney, and he said no, he didn't need any of that. And I couldn't convince him. But then one of his sons he got together with and showed him basically what I was telling him about how email worked and things like that, which were novel. They were new at the time. I mean, my wife's mom was working in China. She was a teacher over there. And I mean, with email, come on, we could just, you could type out your letter and push a button, and she'd get it, moments later. Prior to that, it was, you wrote the letter, you stuck it in an envelope, licked it, stuck a stamp on it, and sent it in the mail. And going to China, you maybe take a week or two to get there, and then response, and maybe another week or two, turnaround time, month, 2, 3 months. So email and all of this internet was just revolutionary. Anyway, my neighbor, once he was introduced and did get a computer, he had he had an office, so he set up his office with a computer, and then in another room he set up his wife with a computer. So they both had computers, and they both had email, and they couldn't, if the internet was down, they couldn't do without it. In fact, just before he passed away, he was since he was kind of shut in with the pandemic and whatnot, he learned Zoom. I don't even know Zoom. I don't imagine it's that hard, but I mean, he would be Zooming all the time. He had a regular schedule of Zoom events with friends, relatives, former colleagues, whoever. Anyway, getting back to ChatGPT. So you might bring it up on your computer and check it out. I asked it a question, and tonight I was just playing around with it, tinkering. I asked it to compose an essay and about a certain subject, and it did, in about 280 words, it did a pretty succinct essay on the subject matter. So I can see the potential for good and the potential for, like if you asked ChatGPT the right questions, and you were, say, a college PhD, I believe you could probably get the entire essay, or maybe a PhD paper written by ChatGPT, because it's I don't think it's programmed to plagiarize, and it's pretty doggone smart. I mean, I was pretty impressed with what it did. Of course, you can edit. You can take what it has, take the bones, edit it, or rephrase your questions, parameters, etc. But this is a really significant entry onto the internet. And so if you haven't heard about it, I'm telling you about it. And if you know a way to capitalize on it, as far as I don't know, I didn't look to see if they have any stock or whatever, but probably if they do, it would probably be a big moneymaker. I'm going to have to look into it. Like I said, I just was introduced to it myself, so I'm just telling you, this is pretty revolutionary in my opinion, and I think I'm right. What else for 2023? Don't see a lot right now. I don't want to talk about a lot. I don't want to talk about politics, and I think I probably just should wind this up for now, and just because the main purpose of it was just to get in front of the camera. Because if you're going to make YouTube videos, you really need to get in front of the camera. I mean, there's no other way. One way or another, you have to do it. So I will leave it at that tonight, and I would re-emphasize that Southern Comfort is not my cup of tea, and wouldn't spend my money on it. And take a look at and investigate ChatGPT. That's all for now. Bye.